small town mentality and negativity. People project what they can't handle, don't understand, or can't transmit. But they cause to be rude. I am free from the small talk. I refuse, I refrain. All the lies stay in its lane. I am free from the bullshit of negativity. Find your purpose. Love your purpose. Love your purpose. Live with purpose. Live with purpose. Love your purpose. Love your purpose. Love your purpose. Freedom is a mindset. 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 Get your purpose, y'all. Those people talking shit, leave them where they lay and live with purpose. Get your coins on tap. Rise to your occasion and mind business that isn't your own. Feel your life. Breathe your life. You are free. Say you are free. Mother is here always. Tap in. Go ahead, y'all. Freedom is a mindset. 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 Ground yourself. Take your shoes off and feel the soil. Lower that blood pressure. Keep good. Hydrate.
Greetings and good vibes, y'all. Welcome back to the Leon Block. My name is Jontel, joined by co-host Megan as usual.
Good evening, everybody.
Yes, y'all. It is another webisode. However, tonight we ain't coming to bring you the news. We ain't trying to dish out a whole bunch of angst and negativity, and deep shit tonight, like what goes on around the rest of the world every day. Tonight we just want to shoot the shit, chill, relax, talk about. We are going to talk about a couple of things, whatever, but largely just kind of touch base with everyone, give y'all a safe space. If you want to vent real quick about something, feel free to do that. Share a little bit of music, vibe out. If y'all have some hits y'all want to bring to us by independent artists, feel free to do that as well. How's it going for you over there, Meg?
I am good. Hanging out, chilling, relaxing, no drama zone for sure. No negative vibes.
That's right.
Yeah.
No negative vibes is the key.
Yes.
Because, we've had a bunch of conversations lately. Well, we haven't, but we've seen a lot of conversations swirling around in the movement lately.
Yeah, and what's so sad, like America wants to divide us, and we have to stay united. It's not about the individual person, it's about the bigger picture here.
Right.
So, all we love grows love and hate grows hate. So we just have to remember the seeds that we're planting, because regardless whether we water them or not, they will be watered, unfortunately.
And sometimes that takes time.
100%.
Like
it's a process.
I've been through shit where I just had to bite my tongue and sit and do my work and continue focused on my work. And time changes things if you're doing the work.
100%. Yep. Oh, we talk about this all the time. There was people in the movement that would not work with me whenever I started. And now, we are mad cool. And they're my go-to for any questions that I have. And they just needed to see that I was real with it. And I don't I'm very shy and don't talk very much, outside of this space. So shoot, let your actions be your words.
That's facts. Nah, I think it was look, there's all kinds of pettiness and phoniness and egotistical bullshit and narcissism. There's all of that shit in this movement. But there's all of that shit in this world at large.
100%.
We can't let those things bog us down.
Right.
Just because it comes across our path. It's always going to come across our path. We got to learn how to shake that shit.
We have to remember that the only way that we keep the power within the situation is to truly respond appropriately. And I'm I'm still learning my dang self. I'm used to, being aggressive and automatically wanting to throw hands. And I go about life differently to get different results. And it's a constant battle, but you constantly have to check yourself. And that's all we can do is grow. And that's how we keep the power in our own hands, is like how we respond to, negativity. Power of words is everything. And what we speak onto ourselves and other people, that, like that really matters. And even on our enemies, like speak good onto them. I hope all my enemies be doing good. Like, I hope they are blessed, they are purpose, they're passion driven. Like,
for real.
And that's harder said than done. But I'm pretty sure my blessings will be true because my heart is where it's supposed to be.
Ooh,
real shit.
It's shit right now. You talk about freestyling. You freestyling.
Yeah, I'm telling you, because it takes a long time to get there.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It definitely does.
Everyone's path isn't parallel. So what you're going through might be different at a different time than what someone else is going through. And I think it's important for other people to realize too. Like, we can't be on everyone's level at the same time.
Exactly. And everybody's paths are different. Everybody's, situations, like we even spoke, privately, like the situation that was going on within the movement. I myself have never been, there's people that don't like me, but like, I'm cool with that. It's never really, bothered me too much.
Right.
But like, there's also a level of understanding that I don't want anybody to ever think that, I think differently of them, just because I'd be taking the high road. Like, people, you could give me your address and tell me to pull up these days, and I'll keep it moving, act like I didn't even see that shit. Because I'm not going to get off focus or lose balance on what's really important to entertain the bullshit. But we got to grow together.
Yo, hold on. I'm gonna message you quick because I forgot about this.
Yeah.
So we have a we were wanting to just chill out, but we forgot there's always work to do. So we're going to go ahead and get into let me pull up Spotify, the podcast episode of the interview that I did with Rulenis Munoz, sister to Ricardo Munoz.
And to those that don't know, Ricardo Munoz was shot and killed by police in September of 2020. It's coming up on isn't the anniversary? Well, his birthday is coming up September 13th.
His birthday, I think, is.
Oh, you're right. Yes. So the anniversary of his death is September 13th.
Yes.
And he was shot and killed by police, shot 4 times by a Lancaster City police officer that had prior, accounts with him. He knew him well. Ricardo was suffering a mental health crisis. He had, several mental health diagnoses. The city actually tried to say, like, oh, well, he wasn't on his medication. They actually refrained from giving the family the toxicology report because they wanted to paint that picture. Well, luckily, your girl got the toxicology report. I seen that he was taking his medicine. It was still in his blood. It doesn't mean he took it that day.
Right.
But and it doesn't mean that anything different. He was still having a mental health crisis.
Right.
But I made sure the family had that because that's the problem, with the world today, because they need all the information to heal. They need all the information to move forward. They're moving forward without their brother, their son. And this family, God loved them. People don't take into consideration the trauma, direct impact and trauma that these families are going through. Whether they speak about it or not, the police don't leave them alone. The intimidation is real. And as soon as, I don't know how many people know this, but as soon as the protest started, they wanted to get this family for inciting this situation.
Yep.
And that's not cool. They're struggling, so frustrating. And they really tried to do everything they could to point the finger at them. And there was nothing they could have done differently. They called for help. The hospital that used to be there that had just closed, St. Joe's, had it was 7 blocks away. He had been treated for his mental health illness because it was a mental health behavioral hospital prior. So people in positions of power need to realize, this is a heavy situation. It's a medical issue. Whenever police started responding to mental health crisis calls, that's whenever people started getting shot by the police. Being mentally ill causes you 16 times more % of being killed by police.
Wow.
And the more that you come in contact with them, the more of a chance that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's the sad reality of the situation. And his sister is so sweet. I've known her like for, probably about 6 months right now. And her heart is so pure. She would do anything for anybody. And so it's really important that we, speak about the true issue here, which is he just needed help. They called 911 for help. And I couldn't imagine, like, I have a brother. I couldn't imagine like calling for help and them coming and kill, like the cops coming who's supposed to serve and protect, coming and brutally murdering him right in front of me and my mother.
Right.
And so we're going to speak some power into this situation, bring, some regards to mental health and like what we can do just to better, some solutions that, may help the situation. Now, granted, thank God they did like shout out Lancaster City Police Department, because I don't have a problem calling out what's right. Like that's one thing that people get confused as well. They did bring on 2 social workers, but to be honest, I'm not sure, like I might have to ask them what their capacity is that they work in, because I don't know. Like, so I'm wondering, like, so if somebody calls 911 now and they're saying I'm having a mental health emergency, do they send out these social workers first? Like, it's just a question I have. I'm sure somebody else has it too, but we'll have to ask.
Right.
Shoot, I'll hit her up, ask her if she wants to come on the show. Can you please educate me? Because I need to know, because this happens a lot more than I think that anybody ever realizes. Ricardo's life, he was shot 4 times. Is that excessive? Hell yeah. Now, can you sit and say, oh, they could have tased him? Like, could they have propped the door shut? Hell yeah. Could there have been different protocols, procedures in place to protect Ricardo's value of life?
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
And so that's why we have now obtained all right to know requests regarding the Lancaster City government and how they run their police department and how their officers are compassionate about other people, how they handle mental health crisis. For Miguel Maldonado, Harrisburg didn't have a mental health crisis clause until the day that he died.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I just felt that disrespectful. Like,
that's crazy.
They put the date like that. It was sickening. The date that he died was the date that was on the damn clause. And them trying to release information, they were like super shady. So I was like, I was thankful that Lancaster was, easier to obtain all of the correct information in a timely manner. Like that's always respected. But yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Hold on. Oh, let me turn up the volume.
Where it led to him being house arrest, which you are suffering from mental health illnesses. Being on house arrest is not the best thing. And the family had asked for him to be put in a proper place so that he could get the rehabilitation and help that he needed, which he did not. Ricardo Munoz's sister, Rulenis Munoz, speaks to us about her brother, about mental health, other cases that have taken place in recent times that do have to do with mental health and are similar to Ricardo's case, as well as bringing awareness to Ricardo's case itself. So tune in and listen to what she has to say. I hope you can learn something from this or find something in it that resonates with you.
Shout out to my mama.
I had to start off with playing some music.
Of course. That's love.
I've been holding on so long. I just need a chance now. I just need to catch my breath.
Shout out to Empathy.
let it all go like that. And I know I'm not the only one. Everyone hurts sometimes, but you fucking with the wrong one. If you think you can control my mind, the reality is life is not easy. Things are not always what they seem. Life is not a dream. Free your heart and free your mind. Oh, this life will ease you up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It gets cold and it gets bright. But I'm never giving up. No, I'm never giving up. Oh, never giving up. No, I'm never giving up. Oh, I can't give up, I won't shut up. I need love, and it's never enough. I trust no one. This world's full of crazy people that's sleeping with you, but don't give a damn about cheap. A beating on you, and they think it's funny.
Yep, I'm not giving up. Mental health issues and all, I'm not giving up because health is a human right, first of all, and
100%.
is important. Greetings and good vibes, y'all. It's your guy Jontel back with another webisode. However, this one is important. We are going to be talking about mental health, and I do have a special guest here join with us. So right after this introduction, we will get into it. We'll be right back. Greetings, I go vibes, y'all. It's your guy Jontel. Today, wherever it is that you are, we are going to be talking about some things that have to do with mental health, police brutality, cases such as Elijah McClain, Ricardo Munoz, and Walter Wallace. There have been a number of mental health cases that have taken place since, and probably for the foreseeable future. I reckon because the nature of, nothing has changed as far as what can be done about it, if you ask me. In fact, things have gotten worse. "Quote unquote" crime has went up according to police departments, but that's a whole other story, and there's a whole big explanation behind that. I do want to get into what we're going to talk about and our guest tonight. Actually, I am joined by Rulenis Munoz, who is the sister of Ricardo Munoz, who was killed here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, the city that I reside in, central Pennsylvania, back in 2020. September 13th. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Thank you, and welcome to the Leon Block, Rulenis. How you doing this evening?
I'm good. I'm really good. Thank you for having me.
No doubt, no doubt. So, Ricardo was 27, right?
Yes.
He was 27. And the cliff notes of the story, if you don't mind, just a quick piece about what happened, and why you think it's important that we talk about mental health real quick.
Well, what happened was we called the police to get my brother to the hospital. during the 911 call, we addressed that he was schizophrenic and he was having an episode, and that we would like to get help to get him admitted to the hospital and for them to bring an ambulance. We have done this previous of times, more than 5 times. The number I really don't remember, but it's definitely been more than 5 times. So we thought that this was going to be a regular thing because this is what we always did.
Right.
But it didn't result to be a regular thing. And my brother ended up getting killed. At the moment, I don't really understand what was going through my brother's head at that time because he was having a schizophrenic episode.
Right.
But also, I also don't understand what the police were thinking at that moment as well.
I think I'm sorry. I think that is the more important question because, again, when it comes to mental health, when someone is schizophrenic and they go through an episode, they're not coherent and we don't know what's going through their head. All the more reason why we have to give them safety and we have to make sure that they're taken care of. And it is not the responsibility of the police officer, and they should have never been there. And I think that's the more important thing to point out because none of the blame ever, and I'm not saying that you said that, but none of the blame should ever be placed on Ricardo or anyone like him that is going through or suffering from, I should say, that ordeal. There's another interview that I'm going to be doing soon with a young man, I believe that was around the same age as Ricardo, who had a wife and a kid, and they were in Harrisburg. And he was in the middle of an episode, schizophrenic as well. And he had a knife and he stabbed his wife. But again, it was his wife. She was family. She understood. She could tell that he wasn't, that he was,
he wasn't himself.
I was going to say that. Yep. That he wasn't himself. And so she knew when she was not in danger. And unfortunately, the police took his life, and I believe she's filing a wrongful death lawsuit. The family is, but the point is that the mental health episodes that are happening, not even just people that have schizophrenic episodes, but people who are bipolar, people who have any kind of mental health illnesses and are going through crises should not be handled by police whatsoever.
Yeah, but right now the protocol is to basically call the police. I remember something about that they said that they're going to change it, and instead of dialing 911, you're supposed to dial 211. But I don't know if that even went into effect.
Right.
Do you know anything about that?
I did hear something about it maybe like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, but I have not double checked on it.
They spoke about it after my brother's death, but I don't know if they're actually doing it right now.
Right.
I think right now it's not even implemented.
Right. With everything going on, they probably see it as like the last thing because they're still closing mental hospitals all over the state and the country as we speak. But yet they're building more prisons. Make that make sense.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense because that doesn't help.
Again, situations where he's come across police, and myself as well. I suffer from mental health illnesses, and there has been situations where I fear for my life when I've been in certain situations with police. And I think that this is something that is pretty common, and it makes it all the more important that we talk about these kinds of things because there's a lot of people who, I forget what I was going to say, but I want to say that there's a lot of people who want to utilize the connections between crime, poverty, criminalization, making people out to be criminals when they're actually not, but just, black and brown people are automatically criminals because they're from a life of crime or whatever they want to say, gives them whatever reason they think they can to make more prisons. So like, Relentless, what connections would you say, like, do you see connections or feel connections between like Ricardo, like the system, mental health?
Well, yes, there was an incident that actually it happened in, if I'm not mistaken, 2019. My brother went to an interview, and on his way back, he was jumped by 4 or 5 individuals. And my brother decided to take matters in his own hand. Once again, he is a person that
What's up, Dave
is
Moon
schizophrenic.
TV?
It's not exactly there. And he thought that that was the best solution. So he took a knife out of his bag and stabbed the people that jumped him. He ended up going to prison. He was there for 2 months. And throughout those 2 months, the people that attacked him were lying about the situation. They said that my brother was the one that out of nowhere came and attacked them, but little did they know there was surveillance. And that actually caught the whole thing in action. They even committed perjury when we went to court. They still kept on saying my brother was the one that attacked them. But there was video to justify my brother was not the attacker. He was actually the victim. And throughout this whole ordeal, even after they knew that my brother was actually the victim, my brother had to do at least 2 years of house arrest. Meanwhile, his attackers and the ones that committed perjury, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's actually a big crime, and
Yes.
in in our law. So but they were still out. Meanwhile, my brother, who was schizophrenic, who was bipolar, who had a lot of other issues, was still suffering by himself. Never saw the sun within 2 years because he wasn't even permitted to go out to the backyard. The only time he was permitted to go out the house was to go see the officer, and that was it. His probation officer, and that was it. But they saw the video as soon as it happened, and no matter what, my brother still went to jail for 2 months and still had house arrest for 2 years after that. And the case, when my brother died, the case was still open because the judge wanted my brother to pay $20,000 restitution fee, and I told his public defender, her name is Elizabeth Lowe, which I feel she is not a nice person, but back to what I was saying, she wanted to agree to this, and I told her, no, how dare you? You need to fight this. If the judge wants $2,000 of restitution fee, he should get it from the people that actually attacked my brother, that actually lied. My brother was also facing 5 counts of attempted murder. He was about to go to jail for almost 30, 40 years because they lied. And they kept this lie going on until they finally realized that they can't keep the lie, because there was actually video to prove that my brother was actually the victim. And as soon as they realized that they couldn't keep on with this lie, they admitted it. And still, my brother was still in house arrest.
Wow.
And they didn't do nothing to them. They only got a fine. They got a fine while my brother was still in house arrest. A person that was sick could not even go outside. And we even asked the judge, because we knew that once we knew that he was going to give him house arrest, we asked the judge, can you please, instead of giving him house arrest, can you please take him to a mental facility so he could get the help that he needs?
Right.
The judge denied that. Instead, he went forward with the house arrest. And I just still, to this day, neither my brother to this day understood exactly why he was still on house arrest when they had the video, when they also had them committing perjury and lying under oath.
Talk about it.
I don't understand why the process took so long for him to be vindicated. And then after that, they still wanted my brother to pay $20,000 in restitution fee. I just don't understand how the system works. He was the victim.
This is how it works. Like, this is, from what I think, is common for people like us. And it's unfortunate, and it's messed up, and it's not right. It's not right. It ain't right at all what happened to Ricardo, up, down, sideways, from beginning to end. But this is, and this is also something that happens to so many of us. It's just, it's sickening.
Yeah, but the thing that also messes me up is the fact that to this day, they still, because the case was not closed, because my brother was killed on September 13th, and within a week, he was going to have that court to decide whether he was going to pay the $2,000 restitution fee. And because of that, there's still people out there stating, oh, this case was still open. But no one's talking about the real truth. No one's talking about the fact that it's still open because of the restitution fee, not because he was guilty.
Mm.
So people are just judging their facts on what they read, but they're not actually telling the real truth.
Right.
Neither did his lawyer tell the real truth. She actually, when my brother was killed, she was one of the first people that had the nerve to talk to New York Times. Instead of talking to us and giving us the condolences, she actually went to New York Times and was speaking about my brother.
So that's how they got the story. Okay, because I was like, how the hell did the New York Post get the story this quick, and why? I just found it so weird and random. I get it.
It was because Elizabeth Lowe. And I actually called her and I told her, how dare you? You haven't even called us to say I'm sorry or whatever or anything like that. But she had the nerve to call them, or they called her or whatever. I don't even know how it worked. But she had the nerve to actually talk about my brother. But she did not actually tell the truth.
Say it. I don't want you to say it, but I'm going to say it. Screw her. So
no. I actually told her when I actually told her that when I spoke to her, I told her I was so upset with her. I told her, how dare you? How dare you?
Yeah.
You are an awful person. You were supposed to take care of my brother. And also the fact that about this whole restitution situation, it makes me come into view. Like she didn't even care. She wasn't there for my brother.
I was going to ask, so do you think that was one of the issues, like prior to his killing, do you think that one of the many issues was the representation that he had?
Yes, I really do think so.
Right.
And there was plenty of times that we would call her and she would never answer our calls. This is while my brother was incarcerated. And also, she also told us that my brother would have been out by Thanksgiving. It took a whole year after that for my brother to get out of house arrest. And throughout that whole time, we were calling her, asking her what's going on. You guys have the video. You guys already have the statement of these people stating that they lied because they were scared. So they lied. But no matter what, my brother was still in house arrest. Like, she didn't do what she had to do, but she had the nerve to go and speak to the New York Times. And that really infuriated me. Because how dare you? How dare you? That shows me you're just there for the
police departments are paid by
money.
the state.
You're not there to actually care for your clients. Because if that was the case, she would have contacted us first, stating, giving her condolences or whatever, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she didn't. She did that first.
So do you think like what are some of the other issues that you have with specifically with like the criminal justice system? Because clearly representation is definitely one of them for specific.
It looks like they're working backwards. They're over here funding prisons, but they're not funding mental health units or hospitals or anything to help the people that have mental health.
Talk about it, yes.
They don't care. They're working backwards. It's kind of weird. I just don't understand it. It looks like they actually want people, well, not just people, the minority, to fail, so they could just do away with us. Because you don't see this happening with people that have money or they have power. You don't see that. But then again, we are all human beings. Nobody's perfect. I'm 100% sure the people that have power and the people that have money do also have mental illness. And if they don't have it, they have family members that have mental illness. But they also have money to take care of it.
Talk about it.
But for us, there's no help. There is no help. It seems like they are just doing away with us.
Yep.
Instead of building prisons, how about they build hospitals? Or actually, not even a hospital. How about a unit for mental health? Because over here in Lancaster, there's nothing.
Right.
There is nothing for that mental health.
They closed it like the year before or the year of Ricardo's passing. I know that. And like just this year or last year, the end of last year, they closed the one in Chester County. They're closing down all over. And it's common now. But yet
but why are they doing that? Because they see that I think the people that are in power that don't have mental illness, that think that they are correct in everything that they do, they see mental illness as a weakness and not as a health problem.
But they help create the issues of mental health illnesses. We wouldn't have as many of them if it wasn't for the society that we live in, that they created, you know?
Yes, but I think that's more poverty, not mental health issues, because mental health
but they help create
thrives
poverty,
in,
you know, they
generation.
Poverty. Well, yeah.
Like it comes from family members.
It's
something that is inherited.
It is inherited, but it's also because of the food we eat or lack of. It's because of the options that they give us or force us into with us working so much. We don't have the time to necessarily eat the way we're supposed to or cook the meals we're supposed to. And even if we could have the time, do we have the space to? Do we have enough space to grow it? Do we want to grow it? There's all these different factors that go into just diet alone and how it affects us mentally, physically, but that does affect mental health. But yes, then you think about all kinds of other things that play a part in it too.
Yeah, and you also reminded me of something.
Yeah.
The school district. The school district does not
talk about it. Education.
It does not. It's just telling you bullshit. I'm sorry. Christopher Columbus did not discover America, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But they spent a whole year talking about Christopher Columbus. Yep. Meanwhile, he slaughtered Indians.
Yep.
But they don't talk about that. They just talk about this bullshit. Instead of talking about shit that's not going to help you when you're an adult, how about you talk about finance? How about you talk about progressing yourself, dieting, anything that actually matters when you're a fucking adult?
I'm sorry, because they want some people to fall through the cracks so that they can blame them and say, well, you messed up. You're bad. You deserve to be in jail. Let's lock you up.
It's not just some people. It's a lot of us.
Oh yeah, and
it's a lot.
Are darker than the other ones.
It's a lot. But I'm 100% sure people that have money, they're not taking their kids to public school. They're taking them somewhere else, and I'm pretty sure they talk to them about financing and about saving and about how to become entrepreneurs and about everything that we wish we had that knowledge.
Yep.
But they already have that. But they don't do that to us. For example, my stepdaughter went to Hand Middle School. She was there for 3 years or 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. Not one day did she had homework. I remember when I was in middle school, first of all, I did not grow up over here. I grew up in New Jersey. But when I was in middle school, my back was hurting because of all the books I had to carry home because I had homework to do. Over here in Lancaster, they don't get homework. And I've experienced that and I've witnessed it. I even thought that she was lying until we actually called the school and spoke to her teacher. And she also told us. Because I could not believe it. That is just weird to me.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, how do you not give homework? That's also part of discipline. You have to do your homework. You have to clean your room. You have, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But then again, they're not giving that to them. They don't care. They don't care about their future. And that's how I see it. And to this day, I refuse to live in Lancaster City. I still reside in Lancaster, but not in the city because they are not educating their kids the way that they're supposed to.
Right.
They're not. My son was in kindergarten and he even had homework. In kindergarten, and he had homework. They don't care. They don't care.
Right.
And that is just crazy. But then they want to judge us and how we live.
And we've got more of this episode, but I want to leave it there and we could touch more on this later on. I kind of want to dissect this apart because I know, Meg, there's probably some things concerning what I discussed here with Rulenis that you probably want to talk about. And for me, this was an interview that I wanted to do for quite some time. And I'm just very thankful that Rulenis took the time out of her schedule to be vulnerable and speak her mind, not just about her brother, but about the larger picture, Meg, do you have any thoughts?
I do. I mean, this poor family has been through so much. I mean, if we look at it in layers, they've dealt with the police department, shooting and killing a member of their family after they reached out for help. The second thing is like the mental health crisis that we face every day in America, being that all of these people that are passing away, by police violence or, being killed by police, the similarity is that they're all mental health patients. Right. Like within the state, I've spoke to, at least 10 families and their stories are all different, but they're all similar. Right. And until people realize like that we have to handle these, situations differently and we can't always go to, deadly force. I'm not saying that, we're not justifying the action. We're just asking people to take into accountability that they're human and they're going through something and they don't need to be dead. They need to be in the hospital so they can get, their mental back to, this was in the middle of a pandemic. Like she said, he was on house arrest for something and he got yeah. And to bring a little bit more to it, like people like was very mean to him. People wasn't nice to Ricardo. And like, that's so.
Ricardo had vitiligo. So he was teased all the time. On top of being schizophrenic, he was known for talking to himself around town, and he would get jumped constantly. He would get
and
picked
people
on
was always trying to start shit and bully him. And so like it was a long-term issue. This wasn't something, that like just one day we're like, fuck the police. Like
what was that one movie with the dude that was like he like was kind of like deformed and everyone picked on him and then he became like the villain of the story or something.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this reminds. It was like a horror movie, but my point is that it's not fair.
100%.
It's not fair in any kind of way. If people only knew the things that he went through.
Right. And the struggles, and the trials I couldn't imagine, like I was always told like, and I didn't know him back then, but my friend lived on Manor and everybody knew that he had a mental health issue. Right. And, even if they wasn't making fun of him, they were telling you not to deal with him so he wouldn't freak out or he wouldn't react in a bad way. Like these are things that this is about what showing love versus showing hate can do. Mm-hmm. Like if we could have provided Ricardo with the resources that he so desperately deserved while he was still alive, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Thanks. If we could have provided Miguel Maldonado with the resources that he rightfully deserved, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
About it.
I can keep on going. Like Christian Harris in Pennsylvania, that he was shot by Pennsylvania State Police with his hands up. If we were able to get, now he was an adopted, child. He went through some trauma. Like, do you see the pattern here?
Walter Wallace in Philly.
Exactly. I mean, these people, we all react differently in situations, and we all react by what we have seen growing up until we know otherwise.
Right.
And until we can react differently and actually be united instead of divided and all work on the same goal and purpose. Like,
ooh, nice way to bring that full circle.
Yes, because I mean, that's the only way that we're going to have the change that we need. These deaths have got to stop occurring. Yeah. Like I could send you a date. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to send you a data set that I have for police officer involved shootings. And I would like for you to show our viewers just so they get a grasp of what we're talking about. I mean, because I wouldn't have known until I seen it. So let's, bring the tea, the evidence, like, all day, every day. So there's 3 data sets that I use. I use the Police Data Initiative. I also use Fatal Encounters. And I also, Washington Post is a really great resource as well. But then there's this one that I absolutely love because it gives you a lot of information plus the link, like, the easier that it makes it. We have to remember that 1,044 people have been shot and killed by police in the past year.
Ooh.
That's facts, y'all. Washington Post is the reference. Check it out, WashingtonPost.com. We're about to post it right now. Like, this is America. And, until we don't ever know who could be next. If you're having a bad, I mean, to be completely honest, I've had a situation where the cops were called on me before because I was fighting with an ex. Like, I was pissed the fuck off. And they were telling me, calm down, calm down. What if I wouldn't have calmed down? Would we be having this conversation? Or is it would I be considered safe? Let's talk about it. Because it looks like by data that they don't discriminate to a certain extent, but it's also seen a lot more in our Black and brown young people. And we got to talk about it. We got to sit down and figure out what the solution is going to be, because until then, I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. Oh, here, let me I'm going to download the data and share it with you. I done sent you the first page. There you go. And then this breaks down like shootings by victim. Yeah, this is like shootings by, the United States. Every place in orange is where there's a lot of shootings. And Jontel, this just verifies what we already have talked about it being in like the upper Midwest.
And like, look at all this.
Yeah.
Look at Pennsylvania. 12
Yep.
shootings per million people. 159 shootings since 2015.
No, there's a lot more than that. That's not a correct number.
Oh, yeah. Look at Ohio.
Yep.
Ohio and Pennsylvania are on fire.
Yeah.
Look at Minneapolis, though. Look at all that there.
Us as individuals
Philly is on fire.
Yep. Our purpose in this life is to educate others of things that we wouldn't have known until it hit us in the face. And this is one of those things. I had no idea that I would ever be as educated as I am regarding this type of stuff if I wouldn't have got interested in this way. This is the world that we live in. This is the world that our children, grow up in. And that's scary. Like for a mother that has, a white child and a mixed child, like that's scary because the odds are already, and he's autistic. And so like the odds are already set up against him in a certain way. And I'd be damned to sit down for anybody until people want to listen, check it out for yourself. But if you want to click on download the data where it says underneath fatal force.
Yep.
And this is what researchers, use to just compare notes. And that's kind of what it began. Like I started with Penn Live and I got with Josh Vaughn and me and him started sharing data. And then that's whenever I added Jonah and we all started sharing data. And it's insane.
For anyone wanting these links, you can go to the YouTube channel and check out this episode, Small Talk, and you can find the links and go to check out this information as well.
Educate your being, right?
Yes. Dave Moon TV says police altercations ended bad for 460 Canadians between 2017 and 2020. Many of these altercations were mental health checks. Checks out on my end.
Mental health checks means they were just called by, say, a family member, and that they were asked to go check on another family member, make sure they were okay.
Right.
And that's not happening. Obviously, they're just going there, finding a situation that they feel is under, above their control, and they just kill the person. That's not okay.
For whatever reason, this is not coming up.
Yeah, it's not working for me either. I was actually trying on the other side.
Okay, well, if anyone can figure it out for us, let us know. It is in the comments via our our YouTube page. However, we are going to close out the show with this. You wanted to talk about this, and I want to check it out. If anyone is aware of Casey Goodson Jr. and the case, Columbus, Ohio, he had a Subway sub in his hand. He was trying to get into his house, and police shot him as he was walking into his door.
Into his own house. He wasn't breaking into nobody's house. He was walking into his own house. And this poor woman right here, she's been traumatized forever. Could you imagine your grandson, who you love and adore, getting shot right in front of you by people that are supposed to protect you?
Right.
Sometimes just got shot in the back when he came in the house, so I don't know if he's okay because it's still out there.
I'm sorry, what just happened?
My grandson just got shot.
Casey Goodson Jr., 23-year-old, was fatally shot by an Ohio Sheriff's deputy. That deputy, now retired, has been charged with murder.
Casey was like the family backbone. My dad died in 2018. Casey kind of stood up as the man of the family and, just took on the role of being the big brother, the dad, a leader, a provider, a protector. So it's destroyed us. We're hurting. We're tortured. His 7-year-old brother now, at the time 5, can still tell me how he still sees the blood on Casey's face. He tells me how he can still hear the glass breaking in his ears. My daughter can still see him on a stretcher with his eyes open. So we'll never be the same. It has destroyed us. We need justice. There's too many of us dying like this. Casey is an innocent, sweetest little boy you could ever meet. He was 23, but that boy was a big baby.
I just miss him because he always here for everybody, especially his siblings. He loved his siblings.
Just not a second a day. I don't think about his death, his tragic death, or him being here with us.
I miss him every day.
His sense of humor, like when we crack jokes and can just talk and chill.
He a good brother to me. He treat me good.
His energy, like how he always was happy. His goofiness, I'm laughing. I miss running up to him hugging him. I just miss my brother, his energy. He was like a father to me, so he helped me through so much. His hugs, because he'll hug you with the strongest hug ever. That's what I miss so.
There is no healing. You don't heal. It's an open wound, especially when you gotta fight so hard for his justice, for what's right. They're not giving us the opportunity to heal or to grieve, because the only thing that we can focus on is fighting them for everything that Casey deserves. So there is no healing. We haven't started healing. We haven't started grieving. It's impossible.
Casey Goodson Jr.'s family is suffering. They've been suffering since the day he was murdered. They've had to fight for justice and accountability at each step of the way. It's important the public knows they're currently fighting a battle against the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office, who is defending and delaying a lawsuit against Franklin County and Jason Mean. This family's suffering has to end. They have to be allowed to heal. The public has to step up and hold the prosecutor's office accountable. For more information, visit justiceforcaseygoodsonjr.com.
Wow. Visit justiceforcaseygoodsonjr.com. Stand up, everybody. This is what we fight for.
I'm not gonna lie, like I'm crying. I was not expecting that. I don't know what I was expecting, but wow.
Powerful. That's what it's about right there. Like, if anybody cannot take anything but this away from that video, is that we have to give them something to turn their pain into power, because this is deep. This is the heaviest shit every day, over and over and over again, of the same shit. And we have to fight for justice for them. We have to stand in unity and solidarity. This has got to stop.
I know we said we was just gonna be light today. We was just gonna be.
To be honest, guys, like we were talking about freestyling and stuff. Like, but you know, our passion and our purpose speaks through everything. You know, like, and this had to be done. Like, we love, you know, Ricardo Munez, and we are so thankful for his sister to be vulnerable again and come on. We're thankful for, you know, the Goodson family, and we are, you know, if they would like to reach out to us, we would be more than happy to bring them on, you know, our platforms.
Let's put the links and everything in the comments. We got to wrap it up because we have 59 minutes, so we can restream this. Y'all check it out another time. Check out the links. We will post them in the rest of the comments. And rest in peace, Casey Goodson Jr. Justice for Casey Goodson Jr., y'all. Have a good one.
Good night.